You know, one of the weird things about the Kindle, one of the good things about the Kindle is that even though it may occasionally crash, you won't lose your bookmarks on the browser, which is kind of interesting. Sometimes on the Android you will. Anyway, this is the Bleeding Cool Kick-Stopped article by Rich Johnston. I'm jumping right into the comments first because they're so salty. So salty. So much salt for the human sunbeam. Cyberfrog at this point is a grift, from Daniel Calban. If it is actually released, I'll be surprised. And he's done multiple IGGs without capitalized fulfillment. Kudos to Vito for refunding. And wasn't Liefeld having a meltdown over Kickstarter issuing refunds last month? Okay, did you buy Cyberfrog? Probably not. McApe says, Cyberfrog isn't a grift. According to EVS, a few days ago, the book is finished at the printer. He will mail them in a week or two. By the way, his book is only 8 months late. That's pretty late. But it's not years, as we see with other books on the list. At least Richard Meyer's crowdfunded Jawbreakers came out, and it was awesome. I don't remember if Jawbreakers and Ironsides were late. They might have been, but it might have been. I think it was just a very short time, and they came out, and yeah, the Ironsides and Jawbreakers were awesome. And I have every faith that Cyberfrog is going to be amazing because Ethan's an amazing artist, and he's also a very good storyteller. And you don't have to love Ethan to admit that. He can, if you read you can find his old Cyberfrog comics that I believe he wrote the stories and he drew them in the mid-90s, and the art was pretty good. It wasn't amazing like he is now, but the story was funny. That's the weird thing I noticed about his comics, is that the Cyberfrog from the 90s, he's a very funny guy, and that comes across in writing. You see him on his, he's got a show, and if you tune in, he's a very, very personal, charismatic guy. He's very funny. He's very quick-witted. Not as quick-witted as Cecil, but still, he's very, very funny. But that doesn't always come across in writing. But I read Cyberfrog, I was like, whoa, this guy's he's really a good writer. And if he was going to go into Marvel or DC, mainly Marvel, and he said, I want to turn around the industry. If all of a sudden Marvel was suddenly concerned with making money, I would say, well, hire EVS, hire Richard C. Meyer, have them write. You think, well, EVS is an artist. He's actually, I don't want to say he's a better writer than an artist, but good artists are a dime a dozen. Great artists like, Miller and the rest are a little bit more rare. But a good writer is very, very rare. And EVS really, really could turn Marvel around just with his writing alone. Anyway, I understand delays, but when they don't give any updates, that's what really irritates me. Well, with EVS, he has given constant updates, and he's been pretty honest about it. And he's not above reproach, because he's been honest. He gets on YouTube and he says, hey, I've got a YouTube channel. It's making me 6 figures a year. Super Chats make thousands of dollars. He's making more from YouTube than, I don't know if he's making more from YouTube than he would from comics, but he's making a lot from YouTube. And he deserves it. He works very, very hard, and he provides content. Which is something a lot of folks in Marvel Comics and DC don't understand, or even in Image and some of the other Dark Horse, they don't understand that you need to provide content. You need to give entertainment for value. It's a meeting of the minds. You're making a contract with the viewer, and EVS is paying off. The people say, why are you guys paying $35 or $25 for a comic book plus $10 shipping? Because we like the people who are selling the books. It's not necessarily, do I think the books are worth $35? Well, Cyberfrog's probably going to be collectible, and so will Jawbreakers and Ironsides, and some of the others will. But mainly it's like this. We're watching these people's shows for free. Some of us never super chat. We just watch this free entertainment. We listen to it. We're entertained. Is it worth $50 to pay Mike Miller so he could trigger the libs? Yeah, it's worth it for the entertainment. It's worth it to pay EVS and Myers and Mike Miller and whoever else is out there. I think you forgot to mention the Cyberfrog is more than one campaign. I think they've had 8-ish. The book still isn't even finished for a single comic. I believe it's finished, and yeah, they've had a lot of campaigns, and I think he made something like $900,000. Actually, I got an update. Books at the printer will be mailed out in a week or two. He's too busy making hate-filled YouTube videos. Wah, wah. And you got 4 likes for that. Okay, let me get to the top of this. Are his videos hate-filled? Not really. I mean, he may not be a great guy, and you may not love him, or maybe you do love him, but he doesn't make hate-filled videos. He's just a guy. He's just a humble frog merchant who's selling, he's very upfront. He wants to make a lot of money, and he's doing that by giving people what they want. I'll read some of this. Kick stopped 37 late crowdfunded comics. I'll tell you the summation right now is that he goes through 37 late crowdfunded comics. Of course, he includes Ethan Van Sciver's cyberfrog because it's 8 months late, but all the other books are like, I think one of them's a decade old, and it's not really fair to include Ethan Van Sciver as some kind of grifter when he's 8 months late, but he's kept people updated. He has a show. He's not hiding. He's online all the time. He's working on his book. He's working slowly, but it's his first crowdfunding campaign, I think, probably of this magnitude, to be fair to say. So yeah, it's 8 months late. It's not a big deal. It's kind of unfair to include it in this list. And here's the reason why I think Rich Johnston included him in this list. Well, the reason why Rich Johnston wrote this article now is because in 2 weeks, a month, it would be too late to write it. If you follow what I'm saying, if he had to write this article in 2 weeks or a month, whenever Cyberfrog actually arrives in mailboxes, then he couldn't include EVS in this article. And Rich Johnston is probably not going to write an article that just talks about Jamal Igle and Kwanzaa and Richard Pace and all the other guys, because those guys are on the left and he's on the left. Anyway, every now and then on Bleeding Cool, as well as looking at new projects appearing on crowdfunding services like Kickstarter, Patreon, and Indiegogo. I didn't know Patreon did that. I have a Patreon, but I haven't mentioned it yet because this content is not good enough to get paid for. And more, we look at ones that have faltered, period, then no cap, have delayed, period, then back to caps. Odd. Have not delivered on what they promised, period. What the fudge is going on with your formatting here? Now that in some ways part and parcel of the experience, that is an unusual turn of phrase, because when you hear the turn of phrase part and parcel, you're thinking about Islamic terrorism in London, because their mayor, who is a Muslim, is somewhat defended Islamic terrorism by saying it was part and parcel of living in a city, which is pretty strange. But why you'd elect him for London is also very, very strange. It's not like pre-ordering something. It's all about supporting the creation of something. And sometimes creations can go awry. And there is always an element of risk. And fans of certain creators should go in with their eyes open, especially when certain creators have a history of lateness or non-delivery. No shit. Here are some of the more egregious examples. Okay, fair enough. You're talking about egregious examples like Richard Pace, which is 5 years old. Some of the others. EVS is only 8 months old. It's not really fair to include him in this list. Rob Liefeld, 2013. Crowdfunding an appeal to revive one of his earliest 2013 guys. Creator-owned comic books brigade on Kickstarter. The plan was that he'd print a large number of issues, which he would be able to give away for free, as well as those who donated to the appeal getting exclusive merch. But that was 6 years ago. Oh my gosh. Liefeld has made a number of refunds, including very recently, but some A, don't want a refund. They want what they were promised. And B, some haven't had that refund they believe was promised to them. So he refunded some books, but not others. That's kind of scuzzy. When last heard from, he was promising guest stars and a new cover reveal for May 14th. Then on June 8th, it was uploaded shortly saying, book on track to become the single biggest and most important of my career, period. But will it have pouches and feet? I don't know. Battle Chaser in 2015, as part of a almost $900,000 Kickstarter, based on the comic book Battle Chasers published in a comic, he would draw the unpublished Battle Chasers 10 to 12 for release in 2016. The game was delayed, the comics even more so. He recently announced that he would no longer be drawing all the pages. So you don't have more to say on that? That's $850,000. So I see. I would explore this issue a little bit more than some book that only raised $10,000. That's a lot of money to go missing. Tom Harris's Round Eye started in 2010. Oh my God. The oldest project on this page caused some problems by originally being a Kickstarter that would supply people with a book to being canceled and restarted, now with the rewards only supporting the production of the book. It's also good to read the fine print before you donate. Oh, yeah, that's the problem, is it's donation. Indiegogo has a little bit more accountability. However, 9 years later, the book has not been finished and shows no sign of completion. Well, how much did he raise? You don't say. Lou Frontier launched in 2016. Creator has ghosted anyone, has deleted his Facebook page. Okay, he's just gone. Great. This I did cover. Great Big Hawaiian Dick, 100-page hardcover by B. Claymore. It actually looked really good. You can find it and take a look at some of the art. From 2015. B. Claymore is an interesting character. Told backers previously that he wasn't allowed to create new material after the TV rights were bought by NBC. However, when last heard from us, posted by disgruntled backers, this is now scheduled for printing in August. Well, press F to doubt, because 2015 was quite a while ago. Molly Danger, the ongoing series by Jamal Igle, was launched in 2015 with delays that Igle put down to other projects, such as Black interviewing. Wait, why would you take another project like Black and Black AF and later White, which is an interesting story in its own right, because Black started with like $100,000 funding, and then the second book, White, I think had half that in funding. So you're not 100,000 to 50,000 is not a good trend. And a major upheaval in his life. What happened? I mean, if you say, like, you got divorced or your kid died, I understand, but without details, it's a little weird. However, he has kept constant updates to his backers. Really? Communication and addressing raised issues is often key to keeping fans on side. 2015 is a long time. Midnight Harvest, Sensual Nightmares by Richard Pace. What a piece of work he is. Was launched in 2013, collecting mostly already drawn pinups and a new 12-page story. He doesn't post a lot of updates, and people are left hanging for months. They're left hanging for years. But he does appear to be working on the project. If it's from 2013, it's not really fair to say he's still working on the project. 2013 is a long time ago. Noel Burns from 2011. It was a new comic anthology designed to give creators and artists a chance to work in a professional setting. We say it fell apart. Completed stories were posted online, but the project was declared abandoned in 2017. Well, where'd the money go? How much was raised and how much was refunded? I guess I could look that up, but Lucinda graphic novel series Malcolm Harris, 2012, actually did see publication. It seems the Kickstarter backers didn't get the print copies they'd pledged for, even as the books were sold in stores. My God, so they published it, screwed over the Kickstarter backers, and sold the books to other people in the stores? A lot of this stuff you're reading, you think, well, why don't they call the district attorney's office and make fraud allegations? The reason is the way the Kickstarter is, the fine print prohibits that kind of thing. It's part of the contract that you accept, I believe, when you get involved with Kickstarter, that there's way less accountability than with Indiegogo. Boo and Hiss. How come you don't put the guy's name? There's no deliverables. Lackluster HC graphic novel, Eric Adams, launched 2015. A dark satire about an albino man using vandalism and journalism change his world while evading his fanatically religious siblings. Must be set in the Middle East, huh? But no dice, and it was all down to sick cats. Sounds like man-eaters. The silver lining, it all seems past now. In the past 4 days, a great return to productivity. I have completed nearly every remaining design detail on my to-do list, and it looks likely I will finish this week. The Scrappiest 2017 ended. I'm eager to start 2018 off with a big win. Yeah, no one got their books. Some people got a mug, though. The Black Milk comic issue by Paul Del Filippo, launched 2016. April update says they're almost there. Just a small progress report to let you know that Orion Zangara is drawing his heart out for the project. It doesn't, there's almost, by 2016, it doesn't take you, unless this thing is like 500 pages long, it doesn't take that long to draw. Okay, Jason Pearson launched in 2015, got later and later. The creator claimed he hated the comic. He said it will come out this year, but I'm doing 4 miniseries in a row. After Vicious, maybe I'll take a break and say hello to y'all. Until then, that means no cons, no book signings, no appearances, just straight up back to doing my best comic work. I'm sorry for the delays, but yours and everyone's patience will pay off in the end, because Body Bags will have a series finale. There will be an end, okay. And Happy White Girls. Launched in 2011. Private updated in 2014. Okay. And then Christian was looking for a colorist. No news. One thing you got to say about crowdfunding, Kickstarter, Indiegogo is you shouldn't set the amount so low that were it to be fulfilled and no more was gained, you would be out. I think for some books, I've heard that to clearly be in the black, some of them need like $30,000 or $40,000. It seems like a lot, but if you need $30,000 to be profitable on the book, then don't put $10,000 or $15,000, or at least if you put something less, be very prepared to refund the money. I think the guy, Ro Kamir's book, I think Vestige, their initial funding was $1,000, but they just put that as a joke because they wanted to be the book that was the most over their funding. And I think they got, I don't know what they got, $50,000 or some ridiculous amount of support, which is amazing. I haven't abandoned you or my project, which is near and dear to my heart. That sounds like the words of a con man. That sounds like a scam. I resettled and starting to concentrate on a release schedule. Barn 80 Great Catastrophe coming out at the end of the year 2018. No book, no updates. Yeah, that sounds like a con man. Who wrote this again? Mandy by Sean Surface. Discovery and mystery during a special year of a very special girl's life. Yeah, that sounds like a shared response talking about health and financial issues. Okay, Madam Satan, that sounds good. Elizabeth and Shelley Robertson, 2015. Blaming financial issues and having a kid. How does having financial issues, sure, but having a kid shouldn't slow you down that much. 2013 books. Okay, then so you're talking about these books are almost a decade old. Cyberfrog Blood Honey by Ethan Van Sciver was launched this time last year for publication at the end of last year. It was kind of a loose date. It didn't. Ethan citing the expanding size of the project for the delay. This time last month, he said it was going to print. All right, that's fairly even-handed, and I'm sure it killed Rich Johnston to write even something that even-handed. But as you can see, these other books are much, much later. 2015. Come on, this is not quite fair to include it. Zombie with a Shotgun by Rats and Crows. See, some of these are just so tiny. It feels kind of like maybe you should focus on the Richard Pace ones and the B. Claymore ones, the ones that actually raised quite a bit of money. 2013 again. So some of these are really, really old. Launched in 2013. During this Kickstarter, the way I did was a huge mistake. The main mistake was that I assumed I would be in the position to come out of pocket for the books and the postage, and I wasn't until recently. By then, it's been years, and it's just embarrassing to admit that I shouldn't have done this in the first place. I'm glad it was successful, and people responded to it in a way that I wasn't expecting. It made all the pain and heartache that I went through when I first wrote the story almost worth it. So did you deliver Beyond Beauty graphic novel by Nigella, a gender-twisted version of The Beauty and the Beast got ugly fast. Launched in 2013, but you don't say if it actually was released or not. 2014. Anyway, I kind of get the feeling that the only reason Johnston released this article was to dunk a little bit on Ethan Van Sciver. It is 8 months late, but as you can tell, 8 months is not even worthy of being included. Stick with Indiegogo. Stick with Stick with the books on IndieCron, the comicsgate hub. Let's see what we have. I haven't looked in this in a while. Leave stickers? No, nobody wants stickers, and I don't want a beanie either. Flying Fortress Remastered. Well, it looks like a comic book. I mean, some of these look pretty good. That's Cyberlog. Okay, Flying Fortress, Iron Skies of Time and Space. I haven't heard of a lot of these. Guardians of Eroth, Soulfinder Deepens Match, The Curse of the Macedonian Scroll, Blood Hunt, Collage of the Dead comic book. Wow, I haven't been here in a few weeks, I guess. Off-Worlder, Strange Love. Let's click on the boobs, because as V says, the only thing he's interested in are boobs and violence. Okay, you have my full attention. This is a very good cover. Yeah. Okay, let's see what we have here. Oh, hey, not bad. Because a lot of times they won't have text. Let's see what it says. Malasara. 15 years ago, every muscle ached as I continued to brandish steel, life draining from my body through wounds and exhaustion until finally the last of them fell. How many were there? I stopped counting when I realized I would have to swim out of there. And then what happened? Did you find it? Not yet, because deeper in the caverns, a true monster showed his ugly face. Please let it be Mark Waid. Not bad. With my entourage dead, surviving at my physical prowess alone would be all but impossible. But I had to travel other roads. The fire did not bring harm to... Okay, so you've got what looks like a real comic book. I mean, it's a fully completed idea, fleshed out. Good art, good coloring, and good writing. Ardanna, what's it called again? Let's take a look. Okay, this is a little weird. It's not Ardanna. Ardanna, issue 0. It looks like a professionally done comic book. It only has $1,000 in funding. That's kind of weird. When did it start? It doesn't say. Status ending in a month. It looks really good. Classic sword and sorcery is reborn. It kind of reminds me of Conan the Barbarian. Long inspired by her father's tales of high adventure, she begins her search for past that will define her future. Heroic steel, beautiful woman, dark magic, and legendary history that has been erased by those in power, but is now being rediscovered. It looks really good. Yeah. Anyway, check out Indiegogo for I don't know, slightly more trustworthy comic buying experience than Kickstarter. Anyway, leave a like and a comment, and subscribe if you're not already subscribed.